little hard truth. Sweet mash rye. It's about a 106 that I've got tonight. Hope you're doing well. Happy early 4th of July. IC is here first. Happy 4th of July to IC and everybody else out there. I have not come to you in a while. I think we're at like 10 days. And I can tell you why. I don't like to tell people what I'm doing before I do it. Not because I don't trust you, IC. But I just don't like telling the whole world what's happening. But my whole family, we went down to Tennessee for a midsummer vacation. It was my wife's side of the family. We had 3 generations. 2 of those heavily dominated by Purdue current students and former and their alums. We had a great time. Watched the Pacers. Game 7, which last time we talked, it was like there was still a chance, but that was dashed in Game 7. It was tough. It was tough to watch. Hallie snap his Achilles. That was really rough. And but a lot of other stuff has happened since I talked to you last, so I thought I'd get together before the 4th with you, and hope you're doing well. I want to thank the people that make it possible for us to keep going, to toil as we do about and talk about Purdue sports and other worthless drivel like you're about to hear. Our friends at Homefield Apparel. Head over to homefieldapparel.com. Right now, their mystery boxes, mystery packs, I think. It's 3 shirts. Great deal. That's something that they're advertising pretty hard. And also, of course, the Play Hard baseball. What do they call it? What do they call it? They call it a dad cap. I think it'd be a dad cap. It's the type of hat I like to wear. Low, you can bend it. Check them out. Check out that. Check out one of their other things. Enter Boiled25 at checkout. Get 15% off your first order. And also, when you're on campus, I love to go on campus in the middle of the summer when nobody's there. I love to soak up the place when there's no crowd to deal with. But if you're doing that this summer, the thing you ought to do is you ought to head to AJ's. You ought to head towards the fire station and then go into AJ's and enjoy some delicious pub fare and some fantastic service. And 2 of the most handsome restaurateurs you could ever lay your eyes on, Adam and Jake. Burgers, beef, beer. That's AJ's. AJ's by the fire station. It's fantastic. So I have a couple things that I want to talk to. Obviously, I touched a little bit on the Pacers, their season coming to an end, going as deep as possible in the season. Game 7 of the World Championship, and they almost got it done. I really wanted that a lot more than I thought I would. I said that to you guys a couple weeks ago. It started becoming something that I was like, really, I got a little more emotionally invested into it than I thought I would. And tough to watch them lose that way. Really tough what's happened since then. Pacers weren't willing to pay Miles Turner what he wanted, and he already went to Milwaukee. Things move pretty quickly in the NBA. So next year's team's going to look way different. You're not going to have Halliburton for probably the whole season. Achilles are tough to come back from, and obviously Turner now is going to need a replacement at center. That the debate about is Turner worth that money is one that I think it's a fair one to have. And the way he finished his final stanza, his final act in Indianapolis is a tough thing for him because he's a solid player, consistent player. Very, very good center, great defensive center, great shot blocker. But I think he had 6 points in each of the final 2 games. That's a tough thing. And I think a lot of Pacers faithful, people that know the Pacers better than I, think that he should have gotten the money. And then there are others that thought that he should have been traded a year ago when they had a chance to get something for him. Instead, free agency gobbles him up, and the Pacers decide they're not gonna come to the table. All right, we'll move on from that. The things that I wanted to talk about, and I've done this before, I think last summer or the summer before, I talked about how close Matt Painter was to Gene Katie's all-time wins as a coach. And Katie, if you don't know it, has 737 wins all time. Painter is closing rapidly. He's got 496 wins now. He's 241 away from Purdue's gold standard. And that would, if you do the math based on the last 4 years, the average wins, that'll be 8.31 years until Paint passes Katie. I think that's noteworthy. I thought this was noteworthy years ago because I was like, he's not going to be that old when he passes Katie. Remember, Katie was it looked ready, like he was ready to be done being a head coach. Some of the things of head coaching had worn him down, whether recruiting and other things. But that would make Painter, if he continues on these average years that he's had in the past 4, which they've been pretty good 4 years. I didn't include the COVID year because that was weird. But that would make him 62 years old when he passes Katie. And man, we're in the golden era of Purdue basketball. And one of the ways you know it is how much talent is coming through the doors, coming in and out of the doors. And if you've been paying attention to international play, you've seen the U19 USA team with Daniel Jacobson. And if you've watched a couple games, it's probably been less than entertaining if you love the style of basketball Purdue plays. A lot of isolation there, a lot of ignoring centers, getting position. Jacobson is not effectively used, in my opinion, in Tommy Lloyd's system. But one thing, if you watched that Cameroon game the other day, that one really stuck out to me. Jacobson really got in the heads of Cameroon because of the inability for them to counterpunch him. His height was too much. His ability to get position was too much. He was pulling down rebounds when they needed it. Cameroon, of course, was very frustrated because the U.S. was kind of shellacking them. But he got in their head so much that it felt like Jacobson drew 3 or 4, I don't know what they call them. They upgraded the fouls to pretty much flagrants. I don't know what they call that in FIBA play, but they review them, and his ability to block shots, to change shots, and to rebound is really going to matter. It's exactly what Purdue needed last year, and even I think right now he talked to Golden Black. I think today it was published, and he said, obviously I'm 100% now, but while he's 100%, I just don't know if he's in the shape that he's going to be in for the college basketball season. That's just the way I look at it. He looks at times to be a little more gassed than I expect him to be. And he doesn't look to be moving it from baseline to baseline as well as he did before the injury. I don't think it's because if he's injured or anything to worry about. I just don't think he's in the cardiovascular shape. That's just my opinion. Regardless, I think he's been fun to watch. But even more fun to watch than him, of course, has been Omer Meyer. And I think, and I have watched many, many, many international U19 games this year. When I say that, I mean it's 5 or 6. But as I watch teams, to me, he's the most effortless scorer there is in this tournament, in this field. If you haven't watched him, you can check out our Twitter feed. We've got highlights on there. If not there, any number, please just look up his name, and you're going to see a highlight reel that's going to wow you. His ability to get defenders off balance is pretty noteworthy. He's got a craftiness to him. The way he puts guys off balance, the way he uses his weight and his body to create space, and of course his ability to knock down shots. But more than that, I called him the microwave on Twitter the other day because we haven't seen a player like him since Carson Edwards, where when he heats up, number one, it's fast and you almost can't see it coming. And then when he gets hot, he stays hot. It's like that hot pocket that you take a bite too early because you're so excited to eat it and you burn the hell out of the roof of your mouth and your tongue. Omer Meyer is the hot pocket, or he's the microwave. I don't know. The analogy is loose at this point and developing, but he's definitely a microwave because he heats up so quickly, and he's been extremely impressive. I think he's leading all scorers in the field with 23.7 points. And the really interesting thing is teams are choosing not to play Israel, which is a shame because I'd like to see him on the court more. But they have already made it to the semifinals, even though the U.S. has one more game to get to the semifinals. Finally, one more thing I wanted to talk to before I move on to talking to you guys directly is the football ticket sales update from GBI. It's a lot more than promising. It's incredible. the way Purdue fans continue to show up and show out year after year after year is incredible. You come off a 1-win season, one of the worst football seasons in the long history of Purdue football, and people are still buying tickets. I'm one of them. My family has got a block of tickets. Can't wait till the fall. I know that's weird, especially coming off last season. But I literally can't wait to be in Ross-Ade and be there with you guys and watch Purdue play. So they're like 2,000 seats short of where they were this time last year, which they had a massive amount of seats last year. I can't remember how many. I'd give you the number if I was confident about it. I'm not. But also the students have already sold out. And that's really noteworthy to me, because when I was at Purdue and Purdue came off of a 1-win season, nobody was going to games but me and my college roommate. It felt like there was just like a handful. And many of you guys also graduated in the late 90s. You know what it was like in Ross-Ade. There was space, there was room, and there were a lot of people that would make the decision to come to the game, last minute or whatever. It is different now, and I've said this for a while. Purdue sports culture has changed for the better. Number one, tickets sell. Obviously, the school's a little bit bigger. That matters. But there's a healthy change in culture in basketball and football both, where you go there's a lot more energy. It's a lot better place to watch a game. Ross-Ade is sneaky dangerous for opponents to come into, and it's going to be no different this year. So that's about all I had to talk about. As things develop in the next week, I'll probably come talk to you guys again, try to be better about getting here every week. But I wanted to get something down before you enjoyed your holiday tomorrow. Oh, there's some good group here. Great to see everybody. I see, like I told you first, Kevin in Albuquerque says, good evening. Happy Independence Day to you, Dowd. Same to you, Kevin. But number one king, I don't know what that means, but you've got some extra. You are extra right now. It says, thoughts on the U21 tournament. Is it U21? And Omer Meyer's cool hand Luke shooting. Yeah, so is it U21? Am I that far off? Am I 2 years off? It's very possible. Very possible. I don't know anything about international basketball, other than I don't like some of the rules, and I don't like there's a lot I don't like about it, but I do love seeing America play for anything, and then seeing Purdue Boilermakers play, regardless of country. I'm going to tune in as much as I can. And this YouTube coverage has been pretty good. It's a little weird because there are dead spots, like there are supposed to be commercials, and I'm sure there's somewhere those games are airing with commercials. But if it's under 21, I apologize. My apologies to you. It could be under 21, but I don't think it's under 21. I might be wrong. You guys can tell me I'm wrong. That's fine. Let's see. Yeah, his shooting's awesome. He is. We can start the discussion debate now. Who's going to be starting? Is it going to be Cox or Meyer? I still feel like Painter will stick with Cox, especially in the beginning of the season. But man, it's going to be hard to keep Meyer off the court because his ability to score. I'll tell you. How about this? How about this wackiness? Look at the guys that are coming off the bench next season in the best, worst case scenarios, however you want to look at it, the points that are coming on, the ability to score, regardless if it's CJ Cox or it's Meyer who comes off the bench. Holy moly, that's a 6-man. Because CJ Cox, if you've been watching the practice videos, he looks awesome. Looks flat out incredible. He is resolute. He is aggressive. He's taking it damn seriously. The whole team looks good, though. They released a super cut, a 4-minute cut of just different scoring things. It was before Jacobson went off to play with Team USA, so it's a large composite, but it's pretty damn entertaining, especially when you're like you and I, and you're a diehard. Let's see. IC says happy 4th, Boiler Dowd, and everyone from Texas. That's awesome. Glad to hear you're watching and listening from Texas. Just watched the summer practice video. Boiler Ball. Very much looking forward to this season. Yeah, I watched that, I think, this afternoon. I went to Tennessee for vacation with my family. I came home for a day, and then I went to Tennessee for work, this is a new chapter. I think I told you guys I don't think I dug too far into it, but work has been tough. I can say that. And I got a new contract, which I'm over the moon about, excited about. And I hope if you're struggling with your job, I know there are many people. I've talked to a lot of you guys, hoping things can improve for you soon. And I'm glad they've improved for me because, it's tough holding your breath. Karen Grulak says, happy 4th, BD. Same to you, Karen. Hope you're doing great. Great interacting with you on Twitter and thinking about you. Kevin Albuquerque says, I have a hard time dealing with play hard ball cap since my memory from the old days is play hard was on the posterior. Yes, this is a very good point. And I think that's a fair criticism or thought, but it's still a cool cap. And I think it's in a block font, just like it was on the rear ends of the practice shorts. But you are correct. And I understand the not wanting to associate that on your head. I get it. Indian Colorado is king number 3. I don't understand what these are, these symbols next to him. I don't know if you guys can see them. I've never seen this. I'm excited by it, but the king number 3 says, good evening, everybody. Same to you. Blake Widmer says he wanted too much money, it seems. What is that? Wanted too much. Oh, yeah. Talking about Turner, no doubt about it. The debate is strong on this one. Like, it's interesting. I can see both sides of this discussion with Miles Turner, that the Pacers should have gotten up to the table. But I also understand that, especially last year, I was like, okay, probably time to move on after 10 years. Now he's been there 11 in Indy. His only home in the NBA until his recent signing up in Milwaukee. So I understand both sides. I think it's a good discussion to have, and I think I can see both sides of it. So Blake continues, I'm glad the Pacers didn't get stuck with a bad contract for him. And I can get that. I don't think he was going to peter out or fade or anything. He's not that old. He doesn't show any signs of that. But the lack of consistency, especially in the postseason, I think was concerning. And they really needed him to step up, especially after when Halliburton went down. They needed him to step up specifically. He missed a lot of open looks. And one of the things that's great about him is his ability to knock down shots, because so many other guys draw double teams and draw attention. So there's a good argument on that side, Blake. Marshall Briggs, my pal, says, good evening. How are you? Glad you're here. Blake Widmer continues, says, Katie coached at Purdue for 25 years. Paint already has 20 under his belt. Yeah, it's obviously slightly different careers. I think Paint took over a little bit younger. And let's see. Katie had his worst years were towards the end. And Paint had a couple bad years in the middle that were pretty awful. But man, the funny thing, I don't know if you guys have gotten any of these stupid discussions or gotten into the deep, lousy comments on Instagram or someplace, and the amount of delusion among another fan base from the state of Indiana about what Painter is pretty funny. Because when I talk to IU fans in person, most of them like Painter a lot. When you talk to virtual fans, they say he sucks. And it's funny, anybody from the lofty perch that they're sitting on, talking about Painter not being a good coach is hilarious, especially with the program strength, the cultural strength that Purdue's developed. And it's all because of Painter sharpening his philosophy, not only from recruiting, but the way he fills his bench with really, really good coaches. The fact that he hands off so much power to those guys and gets them in the position to go succeed and go get jobs elsewhere, because it makes him attractive to a lot of guys who want to come coach at Purdue. And of course, his overall philosophy and being flexible enough to play towards the talent to change game plans is noteworthy. He's a great coach. And the question, I've heard Purdue fans discuss this, debate this. Is there anybody else in America you'd want right now at Purdue? I can honestly say I don't think there is. I don't think there's anybody I'd take. There was a time where I was like, man, Jay Wright, before Wright retired. I like Tony Bennett a lot, just because of his cool demeanor, the fact that he produced his style of basketball, not as fun. His teams are not as fun, honestly. His team's style of basketball is actually what everybody thought Purdue was until their brains caught up with reality. Painter had teams that were just defense, lock them up, beat you up type teams, no doubt about it. But it's been a long time since then, and these teams can score flat out. Nate Benner says, since Katie has the court, will they keep the paint crew as paint crew to honor Painter? You mean after he's retired? Here's one thing. I said it'd be 60. He'd be 62 before he caught Katie, if you just say by averages. And he's not going to do it much before that, just because it would be, I mean, even winning closer to 30 games a year, which won't happen. That's asking a lot, especially you got to have teams like what we saw last season. You're going to have years that you need to figure things out after you lose a superstar, lose an All-American, lose a player of the year, whatever. So pretty good scenario, good case that he'd do it 8.5 years from now. But there's also a case where a scenario I could see him retiring early. If he gets too frustrated with the state of things, if the NIL situation doesn't get cleaned up significantly in the coming year or two. But at the same time, boy, it seems like the game has come to Purdue. Like Purdue's philosophy of kind of staying true to academics mattering to the guys who come in, the things that Painter values when he recruits and how he spots who actually he should recruit now and who he should keep with. He's figured a lot out. And the old idea of an old dog not learning new tricks. Painter's learned new tricks. And that's because I think he's smart enough to listen to smart people. So, classic idea of, if you've been around micromanagers and you hate being around micromanagers, it doesn't seem like that's Paint. All right. Keep going. Blake says, I think Paint Crew would stick forever now. It seems to be, it's pretty iconic in its name, but we don't know, right? We don't know what happens afterwards. We don't know, when they hire Fletch Lawyer as head coach, whenever Paint retires, and Purdue has to play against a PJ Thompson coach team in preseason. Who knows? That's my hot take, by the way, is that Fletch Lawyer will be the guy that takes over for Paint. And I told the BS crew that, and I know he plays right now, and we don't even know if he'll ever be interested in coaching, but I bet he will. It seems like that makes a lot of sense, especially since his dad's in the basketball business. Maybe Fletch will go a different way, and he'll go on to more like the GM type role, and he'll pursue the business side of basketball or something like that. I could see that as well. But everything Painter has pointed to and talked about, points at Fletch being a guy that has a very good basketball head on his shoulders. And by the way, there's a lot of those guys coming through the Purdue program right now. But that's my hot take, that Fletch Lawyer will be, you heard it here first, Fletch Lawyer will be Purdue's next basketball coach. And I know it's ridiculous to even say that, but why the hell not? That's what makes it hot to take. And you can come back in, let's say 15 years, 12 years, and we can talk about Fletch being hired. Nolan Hostetler says, Meyer not afraid of the moment at all. Agreed. He's going to fit very well in this offense. He is. And the funny thing, the thing I'm enjoying more than anything about Homer Meyer going off on teams is the discussion on Twitter, how other fan bases are worried and bothered by Meyer already. It warms my heart. Let's see. Nolan Hostetler says, do you think ticket sales is primarily due to the new coach? Despite the past 2 years, Ross-Ade never really lost the Brom era crowds. I absolutely think the hire of Odom stopped the bleeding, because it felt like some people were feeling pretty down on the whole thing, rightfully. If Walters would have stayed for another year, like all the rumors were pointing to, 2/3 of the way through the season, I don't think the ticket sales would have been anywhere near they are now. And I think it's such a vote of confidence for what Babinski and company did. So, yeah, I think that plays in there. Absolutely plays in there. So, good question. You continue. The last time I remember it being lifeless was Hazel. Yeah, absolutely. It was lifeless. The Hope years had some lifeless, listless crowds that had really lost faith, because so many teams that weren't that great would come into Ross-Ade and just absolutely kick Purdue's can around. And I was at a couple of those games. It seemed like during that final year of Hope's tenure, it was rainy and cold every game. It didn't matter. That's what my memory tells me, so it must be true. So, but the Hazel years, gosh, they were worse. Not only was it rainy, it was cold, it was gray, and there was nobody in the stands on many of those Hazel games. That's a tough end of the era, no doubt. It was a tough era altogether. There's count the fun times you had in Ross-Ade. Go ahead, go in your hands, and you're going to fill just a couple fingers. So Blake says it's U19. Thank you, Blake, for making me feel better. I appreciate that. Ted Berkey says happy Independence Day. Happy 4th to you as well, Ted. IC says, I'd wager Cox starts first, but won't be surprised if Meyer takes a spot. He continues, we like 5 players outside the big 3 that could all easily. So he says, we have 5 players outside the big 3. So yes, it's incredible the amount of firepower. I will reiterate this coming off this bench. The biggest challenge Painter and company have is how do you keep this group together? But then again, you lose 3 starters. It's like, okay, got to reload. Well, lose 4 starters, right? Yeah, you lose 4 starters next year, at least, right? You lose 4 starters, so you're going to have some. They're just lined up now. This is, and if I were not a Purdue fan, I'd be very sad. I wasn't a Purdue fan. I'd be like, man, I want to be on that other side of the fence. It sure looks fun over there. Guess what? It is. It is fun. Need one more thing to make it really fun. Not getting married, but a ring. Ted Berkey says, and he's king number 2. I don't understand these numbers on here. I don't understand what's happening, but I like it. Hope things go better for you work-wise. Appreciate it. The professional environment is tough right now. Yeah, it is tough. My industry's been tough for a little while. Got especially tough in the last 6 months. But real hope on the horizon. Really good meetings today. I hate meetings. You may get that from me. I'm glad you guys came to this meeting today. But I generally hate meetings, and it was a great meeting today. Let me keep going. Nate Dolan says, so many big, beautiful boilers in one spot. Happy 4th of July. Yeah, very good reference. Appreciate that. Yeah, big, beautiful boilers. Yeah, I agree. Marshall Briggs says, just bought my ticks for the Oaken Bucket game, section 124, row 7. Excellent. So good road trip for you. Maybe at the bucket game we get to meet this year. I'd like that, Marshall. Ted Berkey says, IU fans say Painter sucks just like they say Edie sucked. Yeah, exactly. It's petty. It's small. It's spiteful. It's sad. Whatever you want to say. They would give anything to have them at IU, and they know it. Absolutely. Any level-headed IU fan, that I told you there's 5 good IU football fans before last year's unusual season, and a good friend of mine who's an IU fan, who's a level-headed guy, he admits it all the time. So, right on. Alexander Robertson says, as far as Colts talk, okay, excellent. I'm thinking Richardson is on borrowed time. Ballard should be too. Agreed on both cases. Also, heading to Seattle in November, hoping Walters doesn't get his revenge against Purdue. Yeah, that's such a weird case, the fact that Walters landed on his feet that quickly. It shows you how respected he is in football on the defensive side of the ball, and in spite of absolutely peeing down his own leg, and having teams that, man, did they not look prepared. He found a very good job very quickly. And going to that game, by the way, Alexander, that is prime. That is a place I want to see a game there. There are about 5 or 6 places I really, really want to go see a game, and that's one of them. So you got to come back here, report to us what you think about that atmosphere. Hope the weather's great because it can go either way. But I have a hope, a wish that one day with a fellow BSer, I will roll up. Maybe Jay will do it. I mean, why would I even ask you guys when I can just ask Jay? We'll come up in his yacht to the stadium and watch the Boilers beat the Dogs. And that'd be a ton of fun. But yeah, that's great. Glad you're going to that game. You are checking off a box on my bucket list, so that'll be fun. To go deeper into the Colts thing, Richardson has frustrated the hell out of me to watch him, and the fact that Ballard still has a job is incredible to me. And I think he's on short time. I think Jim had something special, really liked Ballard, but we'll see. If they win, though, if they turn things around, regardless of who's at the behind center, who's a quarterback, he's safe. So Ted Berkey says Painter was defense first for about the first 8 years and changed to offense. The rules changed a lot, right? What they allowed from defenders changed. Remember what the style that Chris Kramer and company used to play, where Purdue was physical, right? The rules allowed teams to be physical, and Purdue took advantage of it, and it absolutely changed. Sam says, happy 4th all. Same to you. Ted Berge says, Painter has the ability to listen to those around him so he can make the best decision, just like George Washington. Very good. He had to bring this back to Independence Day. You had to bring it back. You did a great job. And exactly. I think, I don't know how many times I hear it a week. It's now 1 times I hear it a week that Painter is the George Washington of Purdue University. Excellent work. Thank you. I appreciate that. Andy in Colorado says, I cannot wait for basketball season. Purdue going undefeated with 35 plus point wins throughout. Exactly. It's going to be like that. It's going to be easy. Interesting discussion, quick discussion out on Twitter that made me think, and I can't remember who said it, but the idea of Purdue embracing being the hunter is a big concept, right? So we're in, I would say, I think it's fair to say this is Purdue's 3rd year out of 4 where Purdue has really been the hunter, right? They're not the underdog. They're not even close to the underdog. Obviously, when you're number 1 in the nation, you're not the underdog. And that's why I say those 3 out of 4. You can even go a little bit further back. Edie's junior year, Edie's senior year, and this year, mercy. This team is an absolute mother. And if they're healthy, they are going to wreck teams. There's just no other way around it. Purdue and Painter have to be kind of getting used to that sweater, right? Being cozy. The idea of being the team that other teams, pardon me, the hunted. I said that wrong. I said that wrong the whole time, didn't I? I did, didn't I? I did. Good job, B-Dowd. Being the hunted, right? That's a better. Being the hunted. Yeah, the hunted, not the hunter. Yes, being the team that everybody's putting the target on you, right? They want a piece of you. They know that you are, I think that's right. Regardless of my horrible analogies and my inability to think clearly and straight, I think you know what I'm talking about. The switch of roles, gracious, awful, of Purdue no longer being an underdog, no longer needing to think of themselves as the lesser team, because they're not. But how do you do that and still keep some sort of chip on your shoulder, keep your edge? Paint always talks about keeping the edge, and that's going to come down to senior leadership. And damn it, Purdue's got some senior leaders. Sorry about me being an idiot. Sam says, Odom and staff have a task ahead of them. Schedule is brutal. Absolutely horrible. Expectations from here are just to be competitive, steal a win or two, and they shouldn't steal one or the 2 they shouldn't, and then you build for the future. Yes. Okay. So Golden Black, I watched Schultz and Dub Jellison, right? Is that his name? Had their podcast. And by the way, Dustin Shooty took some really mean shots at me on his, and I listened finally, and it hurt my feelings. Got really personal, if we're going to be real honest. And if he's listening right now, he knows that he's wounded me a little bit. Got a little personal, but that's okay. I'm moving on. I'm dusting off. But back to the Schultz and the Jellison thing. Interesting to see Dub over there at On 3 at Golden Black. But one thing I thought was funny, if you watch that conversation, was Derek asked the question, what's a good season? And I think Dub said 8 wins. And I was like, what is happening right now? Yeah, 8 wins would be okay. It's a ridiculous number. How about for you? What's a passable season for Purdue this year? I think 4 wins is very passable. And that's my prediction of how many they're going to have. You want to say negative? By the way, fireworks are going crazy at Conner Prairie right now if you're nearby. I don't think you can hear them, but I can hear them. But 4 wins to me is acceptable because of where they're coming from and the rebuild that is underway. And it is tough to rebuild the shambles that this program is in right now. So let's see. Let me go back. Jeff Nestor says, our only Achilles heel for basketball might be super athletic teams like last year. We'll see. I don't feel that way. It's different when you have a rim protector, right? Because those super athletic teams would get to the rim and they'd be able to finish because there's nobody there to stop them. Purdue's got stoppers now. That's a big difference. I hate using the term Achilles heel right now. The day after Halliburton snapped his, I was on the golf course in Tennessee, and my brother-in-law were both talking about it because we play golf in Tennessee, a lot of hills, a lot of very steep hills, especially if you're like me and you're not on the fairway. And so my brother-in-law says, "Are you taking it gingerly with your Achilles right now too?" I said, "Yeah, and I know why." And so it was way in my head. Sorry for the sidebar. Sam says, "Sorry, us Colts fans are staring down the barrel of reality of having a really bad season." Yeah. I actually think the Colts are going to be decent. And I don't think, I think they're going to be decent. What's decent for the Colts this year? Coming off of kind of some of the lack of understanding of a team that doesn't know who they are. My gut says 9 or 10 wins. So there's a hot take. It's another hot take. So I'm full of them tonight. Sam continues, wouldn't it make Purdue the hunted versus hunter? Yes. Yeah, I screwed that up. And I appreciate that. I appreciate your understanding. I'll edit that out before it goes to print. Mercy. Yeah, I screwed up. Sorry, Sam. Alexander Robertson says, living in Harrisburg, PA, trying to head back home to see both a basketball and a football game the same weekend. See you at AJ's. Awesome. That'd be great. Hope to see you at a game. That'd be fun, Alexander. And yeah, to get 2 for 1 would be great. So it's going to be cold when you come for your game, clearly. Sam says 8 wins in football. Exactly, Sam. I couldn't believe it. If you want to go see it, check out the Golden Black feed and Schultz and Dubs conversation. I was shocked at it. And I think Schultz was shocked at it too. Derek, his look on his face was pretty funny, and he kind of smirked. So Sam says 3 to 4 wins is the team's ceiling. I don't think that's their ceiling. I think they will win 4 games, but I don't think it's their ceiling. I think you can steal 1 or 2 games, like you were saying above. I think that's very possible. So Jeff Nestor says, laugh out loud at 8 wins. Absolutely. Ted Berge says, and he's number one king right now. I don't know if he's not been number 1. I don't understand what this means. But this must be a new YouTube thing that says, depends on how the team looks. 4 wins with 8 blowouts would be deflating. Yes, they would. So the way they win and they lose will really matter. That's a good point. While 2 wins with 0 blowouts would feel more promising. 2 wins with 0 blowouts. So I understand. So you want to be competitive. That's pretty simple. There are going to be some blowouts. I think this team's going to take them a little bit of time to figure things out. The good news is the way the season ramps in, right? You can kind of, I don't want to say ease in, but a little bit of easing in, if we're being really honest. So that's a good thing. But the jump from first to second game should tell us a lot on what type of season this team's going to have. The big question mark for me still is Ryan Brown and the wide receivers. How's that going to go? I really don't know the answer to that. I actually have a decent amount of faith in the offensive line right now, but the receivers, I'm terrified of the receivers. Not that any of them can't do their job. Obviously, I like Morissette. I've been talking about that for a little while. But there are a lot of guys that have not done much, especially in Golden Black, in that room. Tight ends and wide receivers are scary to me. So let's see. Someone's getting crowned tonight. That's exactly right. Alexander Robertson says, win the first 2, beat IU. I'm satisfied with that. Yeah, so 3 win season. I think the way they win or lose is really going to matter. I'm going to change this title, by the way. This is not a quick cast. This is a solid discussion, but not a quick cast. Gentry BN says, when is Oscar Clough showing up? Anxious to see how he integrates with the team. Practice highlights kind of weird with TKR being the biggest guy on the floor. Are they that weird, though? Is it that weird to see TKR the biggest guy on the floor? Is it that big? I don't know if it's that big, right? Because we saw that a lot last year. I think it's big. It's different because we didn't think we'd see it right now this season. I got to tell you, some guys, specifically Jack Benter, every time I see Jack Benter on these highlights, I'm like, that dude's serious. He's not effing around. I'm driving the Jack Benter bandwagon. And many members of the Benter family have reached out to me in different ways. it's not. When I say many, you can take that loosely, but I'm a big Jack Benter guy, and I'm excited to see him playing a real game, because I think that dude, he looks pissed off half the time, which I love. Like, he's busting his ass. He can make shots. They have him playing a bunch of different positions. One thing that's really hard, if you've seen some of the highlights, they're moving him close to the basket on defense. I wonder if he likes that. Obviously, he's a bigger dude than I think a lot of people thought he was. And that's a tough assignment. Almost like a Ethan Morton type defensive role is what it looks like they're trying out. So, and they have to mess around with that, obviously. One of my favorite things on that highlight, if you watch that practice highlight, there's a funny one where Lawyer is out of the game, the scrimmage. He's on the sideline and he D's up Braden Smith behind him on the out of bounds line. Little details matter. So, Jack Benter for team captain. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm in. Sam says, the good news is no one knows what we have on offense or defense. This is football. Bad news is we don't know what we have on offense or defense. Yeah. If you want to go in, I don't know if you do that. You've been on here, Sam, for that, but I had a deep dive into football, into the roster, into some of the moves, and you could find it. It's not that far down because I haven't had that many streams this summer, but I'd like to hear your comments on there if you have any thoughts. And I talk about those question marks. It's really, really tough. Speaking of the same type of idea, but twisted a little bit, when you watch the Purdue, that highlight package, that the Boiler Ball feeds put out. Pardon me, my allergies. One takeaway I had, I was like, dude, check out that take. And then I'm like, oh, but that defense, right? That's the problem with scrimmages, because you're like, excellent offensive play, poor defense. Or, I think there's a couple defensive highlights in there, but that's the hard time when you're beating yourself up, right? When these teams are just beating themselves up, especially in an abridged version when it's a smaller roster, because you have so many guys gone, unavailable, like Clough, like Meyer, like Jacobson. You're seeing a different version of the team. The walk-ons are putting in work, though, man. Purdue has some of the best damn walk-ons. Like, I'm always amazed at the athleticism of some of these guys and the things they can do. So fun to watch those guys too in those highlights. Yeah, Jack Benter's a bad dude. Sam says kick and brawl. Yeah, I'm telling you, you need to not skip leg day, just like Jack Benter and TKR. Dudes are strong, waist down, strong. Alexander Robertson says, motorsport talk, hit me. Thoughts on the Speedway bringing back F1? Okay, good question. I can't stand, I know it was Bernie Ecclestone when they did the IMS wrong, okay? I have a hard time forgetting. I thought they were fun to watch. I thought that they were so much better on that track than the Indy cars are on that Grand Prix track. I think they've changed it a little bit since then, but I got to go out and watch on one of the hills during practice, and it was like those cars are like, it's like you're watching sped up film. They're super fun on road courses. Those are too long straightaways for F1. I bet they'll ask for that to be shortened up, change back to the old configuration. The hoops that IMS and George jumped through for F1 were incredible. The amount of facilities upgrades, the money that was dumped in there, and the way F1 pissed all over IndyCar is something I have a real hard time forgetting. And I know not everybody did it, but it seemed like Ecclestone was unapologetic. He's an absolute prick of a dude. And I know he's not in charge anymore, but the corruption at F1 and in that league is pretty obvious. And then the way the owners colluded against Andretti this offseason, screw that. I'd love to see Andretti come in there and kind of finish the thing that he wanted to do years ago as a driver. I know I'm getting deep into the weeds here, especially for some of you guys, but yeah, it would be good for the track. And there should be F1 racing there, okay? So I know I'm mincing my words. There should be F1 racing. It's a fantastic facility. Everybody knows it. It doesn't cheapen the 500 to have F1 there, but they need Indy more than Indy needs them. So there's my thoughts. We'll see. Jeff Netzer says, hopefully Israel versus USA in the U19 finals. That'd be really fun. Obviously, our two Boilermakers wouldn't have too much interaction, but it'd be cool to see, and it'd be cool to talk about. The run of Team USA players that have been from Purdue is pretty incredible. I think you've got, what is it, 7 of those teams have had a Purdue representative, something like that. I think it's right. But it's a pretty good number regardless. Again, me giving you half facts. You're going to come with the half facts all summer long as I speak out of my comfort zone. Sam says, I'll take a peek. Hard to judge if it's the same team. On same team, I agree, in football. I have a lot of faith in Odom. Same here. He's a good coach. Team needs to gel. Odom's process will win out. I know we're due eventually. I like Odom. I think he's a really good fit for right now what Purdue needs. What Purdue's football program needs is a guy that really has strong systems in place and has a very veteran coaching staff. That's the only way. Oh, I know what they're talking about in that conversation on Gold and Black again was a bowl game would be a solid year. And I was like, a bowl game would be a solid year. Again, I was like, what am I watching? So it's nice to see Dub over there on that. Is it Dub? I think it is. Am I right about that name? I think it is. Over at Golden Black. Yeah, I thought that was a funny conversation. Made me laugh a lot. So I think we're done. It's been a nice Thursday evening chat, a nice pre-4th of July. If you are hosting tomorrow or going to somebody's house, enjoy yourself. Have a good time. Stay hydrated. It's going to be blazing hot in central Indiana and probably where you are. Many of you guys are in the South. We got Florida representatives and we've got people in the Southwest. We got Texas, wherever you are. Stay hydrated. Have a great time. Enjoy the freedoms that, Dub Jellison. Thank you, Sam. Enjoy the freedoms that people have fought for and have a great time and enjoy your family. God bless you. Hammer down. Happy 4th of July. I'll talk to you soon. It's going to be a lot sooner than 10 days. And, Mason Benitez says, I might wake up at 5:45 tomorrow to watch Omer play. Yeah, it's worth it. It's fun. If he gets hot, and I haven't figured out the psychology behind him yet, but I don't know if he, like, when he gets a little fire on to him, dude is absolute beast, like Teen Wolf, right? When you get mad, the wolf comes out. But yeah, so for real this time, that's it. I'm not going to look at the comments anymore, but thank you all for tuning in. God bless you. Happy 4th of July. Talk to you soon. Hammer down. We'll see you. Bye-bye.